His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa welcomed His Majesty King Abdullah II bin Hussein of Jordan upon his arrival in Bahrain, accompanied by His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al Hussein bin Abdullah II. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa and His Majesty the King's representative for humanitarian work and youth affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in addition to a number of senior officials, also welcomed His Majesty King Abdullah II, who is on a brotherly visit to the Kingdom of Bahrain. The Guard of Honour saluted His Majesty the King and His Majesty King Abdullah II. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa held a discussion session with the King of Jordan, His Majesty King Abdullah II bin Hussein, in the presence of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa and the Jordanian Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Prince Al Hussein bin Abdullah II, at Sakhir Palace. His Majesty welcomed the visit of the Jordanian monarch and praised the deep depth of the bilateral relations that are based on long history of understanding, coordination and cooperation on the official and popular levels. Their Majesties highlighted the strength of the bilateral relations in ways to further enhance the bilateral cooperation and joint action in all fields. They expressed pride in the brotherly relations between the two countries and their people and the joint keenness to further enhance them to achieve mutual interests. His Majesty the King praised the vital role of Jordan under the leadership of His Majesty King Abdullah II in defending Arab interests and causes, on top of which is the Palestinian cause, in an effort to achieve peace in the region. Their Majesties also discussed the developments in the Middle East region as well as the current situation on the regional, Arab and international levels, especially the military escalation in Gaza. They stressed the need to prioritize the protection of civilians in accordance to the international humanitarian law and work to secure immediate humanitarian corridors to deliver medical and humanitarian aid to Gaza due to the difficult circumstances in the Strip. Their Majesties affirmed the importance of not hurdling the work of international organizations while performing their humanitarian duties there and the necessity of sparing the region the consequences of a new spiral of violence and working to find a clear political horizon for a just, comprehensive and sustainable peace that guarantees stability and security for all. They stressed their keenness to enhance joint action to achieve peace in the region based on the two countries' established approach to supporting coexistence and regional cooperation in the interest of all. Their Majesties affirmed the necessity of intensifying efforts in regional and international diplomatic endeavors to stop military operations and prevent the forced displacement of the people of Gaza, and to stop the escalation and find a political horizon to reach a permanent, just and comprehensive peace for the region, and to establish an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as as its capital in accordance with the two-state solution and the resolutions of international legitimacy. They affirmed their keenness to coordinate and consolidate to achieve the interests of the two countries, serve Arab issues and maintain regional and global security and stability. His Majesty King Abdullah II warned of the continued deterioration of the situation in Gaza, reiterating the necessity of finding a political horizon for the Palestinian issue to achieve a just and comprehensive peace based on the two-state solution. His Majesty also stressed that lifting the siege on the Gaza Strip is an utmost necessity to limit the deterioration of the humanitarian situation, praising the efforts made by the two countries to stop the war on Gaza. The Jordanian monarch expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for the warm welcome and generous hospitality, affirming the strong historical ties between the two countries and people and Jordan's appreciation for Bahrain. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa was at the forefront to bid farewell to His Majesty King Abdullah II ibn al-Hussein of Jordan, accompanied by the Jordanian Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah II, upon his departure following a visit to Bahrain, in which he held a discussion session with His Majesty the King on the deep-rooted bilateral relations and the means of supporting and enhancing cooperation and joint action in various fields. Also present were His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and a number of senior officials. The Bahraini-Jordanian relations are witnessing remarkable developments in the 21st century, providing an example of fraternal relations that were established by their forefathers in the last century based on common principles and goals. More on this report.
The Kingdom of Bahrain and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan shared many stances and faced many challenges based on fraternity and a common destiny. The two countries share bilateral, regional, and international cooperation, providing a model in deep-rooted fraternal relations. The prosperous reign of His Majesty the King and His Majesty the Jordanian monarch witnessed a boost in relations, which was evident in the mutual visits between the two leaders, the joint meetings, and the agreements and consensuses reached during the meetings. To enhance bilateral cooperation, the Bahraini-Jordanian Joint Higher Committee was formed in the year 2000. The committee boosts cooperation and fraternal ties between the two countries for the importance of the agreements signed and their role in enhancing the response of bilateral cooperation to development and common aspirations. The common vision of the monarchs of the two brotherly countries was made clear by the balanced political stances and the two countries' mutual support, as well as the national security of the two countries. The readiness of the two countries' armed forces and the joint exercises also affirm the depth of cooperation against all threats that require cooperation and joint security coordination.
The position of Jordan towards the Palestinian cause is one of Jordan's central constants in defending Islamic and Christian holy sites. Jordan recorded a distinguished position in support of the Palestinian people through the speech of His Majesty King Abdullah II. More in this report.
There are three aspects in defending the Palestinian cause on which the official Jordanian position is based. These aspects were mentioned by the King of Jordan, His Majesty King Abdullah II, in his royal throne speech last October. They are Palestine and its borders, June 4, 1967, and East Jerusalem as its capital, the Arabic route in dealing with it and Jordan's guardianship, and the need to stop the aggression and killing of innocent people in Palestine. The Jordanian aspects are consistent with Bahrain, that His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa has always emphasized. Joint efforts continue between the governments of Bahrain and Jordan, emphasizing their firm position on the Palestinian cause, on the importance of achieving peace for the Palestinian people, in addition to emphasizing the importance of joint Arab action and coordination in confronting the war on the Gaza Strip within the principles of international law, especially the principle of the right to self-determination and the principle that people should have their own state on their land in harmony with the relevant international legitimacy resolutions and the Arab Peace Initiative. Since the outbreak of the aggression on the Gaza Strip on October 7th, His Majesty King Abdullah II's constance with the leaders of Arab and Western countries, led by the United States, have not stopped to put pressure towards stopping the escalation. Bahrain and Jordan consider the Palestinian cause their first central issue, and it is seen as a major priority in foreign policy because it represents a pivotal and fundamental issue for the security of the Middle East region, and its solution represents the key to peace and stability in the entire world.
The Bahraini-Jordanian economic relations reflects the sustainable cooperation and joint development between the two countries in multiple fields. More in this report.
The Kingdom of Bahrain and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan have strong economic relations that have been established as a result of the visions and the efforts of the two countries' leaders and the continuous efforts to develop cooperation and utilize available opportunities. The volume of trade exchange between the two countries reached $174 million in 2021, an increase of 59%. Bahrain's imports from Jordan amounted to $55 million, and Jordan's exports to Bahrain amounted to $86 million. The Kingdom of Bahrain is keen on increasing economic cooperation with Jordan in many investment fields, particularly food, education, petrochemicals, health, industry, and commerce, in addition to enhancing cooperation in areas with high economic returns, such as the environment, culture, transportation, cloud computing, and sea and air freight services. The Kingdom of Bahrain has also recently joined the Integrated Industrial Partnership with the UAE, Egypt, and Jordan, which is an important gain that contributes to the development of the industrial sector and enables it to compete at the global level. The two countries continue to make economic achievements in light of the current global economic situation and to utilize the available opportunities in order to achieve the strategic goals and common interests.
The parliamentary relations between the legislative authorities in Bahrain and Jordan affirm the close cooperation and keenness to enhance bilateral interests for the benefit of both kingdoms. More in this report.
The well-established close relations between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan witness growth in various fields, including the legislative field. The relations between the legislative authorities in the two countries receive continuous support from His Majesty the King and His Majesty the Jordanian monarch. This support enabled the two legislative authorities to strengthen cooperation and joint coordination and advance the historical relations between the two countries. The Memoranda of Understanding, bilateral agreements, and joint executive committees and programs affirm the consensus and common interests of both authorities. The Bahraini-Jordanian relations are characterized by historical milestones that constitute clear indications of the continued keenness in the sustainability of historical relations and the achievement of bilateral interests.
The chairman of the Supreme Council of Health, the SCH, Lieutenant General Sheikh Dr. Mohammed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, attended a celebration held in the Arabian Gulf University marking Bahraini Doctors' Day, which falls on the first Wednesday of every November, in the presence of the Minister of Health, Dr. Jalil Hassan, and health sector officials. The SCH chairman expressed his appreciation for the support of His Majesty the King and the continuous follow-up from His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa for that effort that contributes to developing the health services system system in the kingdom. Sheikh Dr. Mohammed bin Abdullah praised the efforts of Bahraini doctors and all health professionals in the public and private sectors, lauding their prominent role in supporting the comprehensive development process. He stressed the keenness to develop the health system and boost its quality and efficiency through qualified national competencies. The Kingdom of Bahrain celebrates Bahraini Doctors' Day, which was approved by the Cabinet to be the first Wednesday of November of every year. More in this report.
To be a doctor and work in a profession that serves humanity and be an important part in alleviating the suffering and pain of others is one of the highest professions in existence. In the Kingdom of Bahrain, the Bahraini doctor is considered the best example and a role model due to their continuous giving and dedication to serving their country and its people. In return for all this giving and dedication, the Kingdom of Bahrain dedicated a day to celebrate its doctors who work in every profession and with high professionalism, which was clearly reflected in the development of the health sector and keeping pace with all new technologies in the service of the medical system. Continuous giving and sacrifices made by Bahraini doctors in service to their community and to be worthy of the oath they took before Allah and the nation.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Latif bin Rashid Al-Zayani, held a meeting with the Minister of State for the Middle East, North Africa, South Asia and United Nations at the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, Lord Tariq Ahmed, on the occasion of the Minister's visit to the UK and the launch of the first strategic dialogue between the two countries. They discussed the close friendship and partnership between the two friendly countries and ways to advance bilateral cooperation in all political, economic, commercial, investment and social fields for the benefit of the two countries and their people. The two ministers also discussed developments in the Middle East, the ongoing war in the Gaza Strip, international efforts being made to achieve a ceasefire, protect civilians, release detainees and hostages, deliver humanitarian aid, the prospects for achieving just and lasting peace in the region, in addition to regional issues. The two ministers then chaired the meeting of the joint Bahraini-British committee with the participation of two delegations from the two countries. Lord Tariq Ahmed welcomed the foreign minister's visit to the UK and holding of the first strategic dialogue between the two countries to advance bilateral cooperation and strategic partnership in various fields. He noted the importance of holding this dialogue in light of the current regional political circumstances and ongoing escalation in the Gaza Strip. Dr. Zayani stressed that the joint working group demonstrates a joint commitment to advancing the bilateral partnership with the aim of contributing to the security, development, stability and prosperity of the two countries and the world. He praised the result of the official visit made by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to the UK in July 2023, which resulted in the strategic investment and collaboration partnership between Bahrain and the UK. The minister referred to the developments in the Middle East and the ongoing escalation in Gaza, stressing the importance of condemning actions that incite hatred, extremism and violence, stressing Bahrain's firm commitment to promoting mutual respect, peaceful coexistence and dialogue. The two sides decided to increase bilateral cooperation and from a joint committee to a strategic dialogue. The first session of the strategic dialogue between Bahrain and the UK issued the following statement. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of State for the Middle East, North Africa, South Asia and UN at the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office chaired the first session of the strategic dialogue between Bahrain and the UK. The two ministers reviewed the cooperation between the UK and Bahrain and the history and close ties between the two people. They welcomed the results of the visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister in July 2023, which included the signing of a strategic investment and collaboration partnership to enhance cooperation in clean technology, business, services and manufacturing. Strategic dialogue discussions addressed a range of bilateral and regional issues, including human rights, security and defense cooperation and mutual trade and investment opportunities. In addition to discussing a number of foreign political issues, they called for the immediate release of all hostages and denounced all forms of violence against civilians and stressed the importance of all parties' commitment to international humanitarian law. They also called for a ceasefire to facilitate the provision of humanitarian aid and the urgent need for it, and pointed to their shared commitment to a political solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that provides justice and security. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdulatif bin Rashid al-Zayani, met with former British Prime Minister and member of the House of Commons, Theresa May. During the meeting, aspects of the strong historical friendship between the two friendly countries and people were discussed, and ways to develop bilateral cooperation in various fields to serve common interests. The Minister of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Endowments, Nawaf bin Mohammed al-Maouda, received Saudi Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Dr. Tawfiq bin Fawzan al-Rabi'a. The Minister noted the depth of the historical relations between the two kingdoms and the development they are witnessing at all levels in light of the interests of the leadership in both countries. Mr. al-Maouda affirmed that the Supreme Committee for Hajj and Umrah Affairs in implementation of the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister is keen to join efforts with the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah according to its new strategy. The two sides held a meeting to discuss cooperation and coordination in the field of Hajj and Umrah and strengthening mechanisms for joint action within the framework of early preparation for the upcoming Hajj season. Al-Maouda praised the comprehensive development plan recently launched by the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah, noting that the early organization of pilgrims' registration procedures will achieve the excellence of services provided to the pilgrims. The Supreme Council for the Environment, the SCE, and the Embassy of the United Arab Emirates to Bahrain concluded the youth workshop on climate change, which came under the slogan Together for Climate. The workshop came within the framework of Bahrain's keenness to spread environmental culture among youth, and in conjunction with the preparations of the UAE to host the 28th Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP28. Together for Climate was held to raise the level of environmental awareness and to promote the values of green environment and sustainable development. The workshop included awareness lectures, practical sessions for participants to encourage the use of environmentally friendly technologies and enhance community participation in the field of environmental preservation and confronting the effects of climate change.